What's up, everybody? Welcome to Life is Cooler with AC. I'm your host, Alex Cunningham, and today we have a very funny comedian, Patrick Eaton. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right, man. How are you?
Good, good. I was kind of confused whenever I don't even M Sirocco added me on Skype.
Yeah, it's weird. Is that what it says, Sparko, on there?
Yeah.
It's weird. I just put in my phone number, and then it said there's already an account with that, but I changed the password, and then it just popped up. So I what the fuck had it before, made a Skype, and that's what the fuck it is, I guess. But it's a little weird. I tried to change it too, but I don't know how. So I'm stuck.
That is awesome. That's like the most fucking Patrick thing I've ever heard. Like, there was already an account under this number, so I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna use it. Like, fuck that guy. Like, I hope he doesn't have to have a business meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, well, yeah, if he does, his password's changed, so
right. Just text the phone number that this account is set up through, and then I'll give it back to you.
Yeah, more than likely.
Oh, I got to tell you guys that this episode is very special. It's brought to you by Zoa Energy, very unofficially. Again, The Rock, don't sue me. This has just been a thing. We're going to continue to bring unofficial sponsors to the podcast until it is official. So thank you, Patrick, for allowing us to reach out to The Rock. I know you guys are good friends. So it's actually the first time I think that I've done the podcast without alcohol, and I did that on purpose. So
I mean, you could if you wanted. Like, I mean, it won't bother me.
Well, I knew that you couldn't like take a sip or anything, you know, like through the.
Yeah.
But so
coffee. That's it.
You did what?
So I got coffee, but that's it.
Oh, well,
I have here.
Yeah, I should have had some coffee. No, I wanted to kind of talk to you about that. So I feel like that's something that a lot of people don't really think about, you know, like drinking and doing comedy. Because you probably started doing comedy before you started drinking a ton, didn't you?
No, I started drinking first.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, and then I found out they did like open mics at the Verve here in town. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, well, I'm already drunk. Like, I might as well do something. So,
okay.
Like, I just started comedy, fucked up, and just kept going like that for a while. But yeah, right. I just did hammered all the time. So like for a long time, I figured I'd never be able to do it sober.
Right.
But I mean, it is easier when you're drunk. I will say that. But
I bet. Well, it's funny because, you know, like I was there and I kind of watched that transition, you know, from the alcohol comedy to the sober comedy. And I remember like every time you'd be like, man, it's so fucking hard to make people laugh when you actually care if they laugh or not, you know? And I can only imagine, like, I've never really been like drunk and done comedy. Like I always have a drink or two, but like I generally can't even feel it. But to like actually not fucking be super coherent, like to me, that sounds scary.
I mean, it was at the time though, you don't give a shit because you're fucked up. Like, hey, this is just fun. And like you can bomb half the time, but like if there's a laugh in there, it feels like a victory because you're drunk and you're just having a good time. At least that's how it was for me.
Yeah.
Most part. But I mean, though, you're not doing a lot of writing, you know, when you're fucking, so.
Yeah, well, but I mean, honestly, I feel like because you're really good at, you know, crowd work and stuff like that, like kind of crowd engagement. So I feel like that kind of helped. And maybe it's not the same anymore, but I know that whenever we would go to like Tollies and stuff like that, you were always, you know, kind of like banter back and forth with the audience, and you truly never gave a fuck, you know. I guess, you know, that liquid courage.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely did sometimes. And then sometimes that got me in trouble because I'd like argue with people and shit.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I used to. I don't really do that very much anymore, just because it's like when you're sober too, you're kind of like more aware of how people might react to shit.
Right.
So
that makes sense.
I'll especially like if I do it, I'll usually do it near the end because like I used to just open shit like that.
Right.
But that usually did not go super well because I didn't know if they wanted it.
Right, not the way that you had anticipated, and that makes sense. But that's interesting, you know, because I was like, I had assumed that comedy kind of like led you to alcohol, but the fact that alcohol led you to comedy is kind of like that's a bittersweet, you know, like kind of relationship.
Yeah, it is. It's weird, man. Because like I mean, yeah, I never really thought I would do it clean. Because like I was just drinking and joking around with my friends. So I was like, well, I might as well get on stage and do it. And that lasted for like 5 years. But I mean, it wasn't a great 5 years.
Right.
But I mean, at the time, like I did certain things, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that like, obviously, there were a lot of negatives that come from the alcohol and stuff like that. But like, look how far you've come like with your comedy. So like, clearly, just because the alcohol's gone doesn't mean that it's like, oh well, now I'm not funny anymore. But was that ever like a thought?
Oh yeah, I mean, when I first got clean, like, I mean, it was because I got arrested, so like I had to, and I was like, oh fuck, like I just assumed I'd have to quit doing comedy pretty much, or if I was gonna do it, it would never be to a large audience because I was just like, I don't do this, and how to like engage with everybody. But yeah, man, like it was just like small steps. Actually, I was talking to you. I remember the week after I got popped. And I think like the comedy night after that, I didn't do it. And then like the next showed up and you and Anthony encouraged me to do it. So I was like, fuck it, I guess I will. But I really wasn't going to. I was just going to sit and watch.
Yeah, for sure. See, but honestly though, like and this is not just, like a guess, because like I was there and I watched it. Right toward the end, right before you got arrested and stopped drinking, you were kind of like a loose cannon, like on stage, and like you never knew what was going to happen. Like I remember there was a time where you got into it with Levi, and it was just it went very south very quickly. So then so then for you to like come back and to be sober, like I remember you were super nervous the first couple times, but it was so collected, because like I was actually just talking to my wife about you and kind of your comedy style, and like you play this like a dick, but like a funny dick, and you play it very, very well. And it's weird because like when you were drunk, it was like a belligerent dick, where now it's almost like a sophisticated, like I know what the fuck I'm talking about, so fuck you type of persona. And the fact that you were so easily transitioned, in my opinion, like I know that there was a little bit of nerves right there at the beginning, but you just kind of like really sailed into that, like sobriety version of that role really well.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it's weird. I think it's mostly because like when I quit drinking, like I didn't have anything really to focus on other than like bad shit in life. Like other than my relationship, it was mostly just like impending doom and fucking health issues that I was going to have to deal with. So like at that point, I was just kind of like I needed something, and luckily like comedy's kind of been that thing.
Absolutely.
And it's like okay, I have something to focus on and build on, and now it's been like a year of that, and it's like now I've kind of got a place where I'm happy at, and kind of just building on it. But yeah, like it's weird. It was one of those things I really didn't think would last, and then I was just kind of occupying my time. But then it was like, oh, I actually kind of found my love for this again, because I think for a long time, like I just kind of didn't give a shit. Like I wasn't going at it, wasn't really doing anything, but like you said, getting drunk and belligerent and saying dumb shit. So like it's been kind of nice, but it's definitely been a weird kind of path back, but it's been worth it.
Yeah, probably kind of like a weird learning curve, because like you said, you weren't doing a whole lot of writing or anything. And like, how have you been writing more and stuff like that?
Yeah. And I've kind of like, I've noticed, force myself to write more and just try new shit. Like, I'll do characters and stuff more, mostly out of town. Like I do that in Bloomington a lot.
Okay.
Cause I just got to a point, well, especially when I first quit, I was like, I don't want to do any of my old jokes anymore.
Right.
And I did for a while. And then I've kind of started picking them back up if I think they're good. But yeah, I was going to just like start a whole new set list and do everything new all the time and never go back to even the subjects I used to talk about. But I've started to like go back to it and realize like what was part of my personality, what was just alcoholism and fucking me trying to pull off and being a dick. So it's been weird though. But yeah, I mean, I've been writing more and trying to kind of go back to certain things I kind of talked about, like my family, shit like that in comedy, and just try to like go where I can with it, but also to try new shit.
Absolutely.
And you know, kind of talk a little bit more about like my sobriety. I still talk about that like a lot
Uh-huh.
on stage. Well, for one of the reasons I bring it up all the time too is like I feel like people just see how fucking awkward I am. If
Uh-huh.
like I'm standing near the bar and they can see my eyes like dart around and shit like I do sometimes. So I feel the need to just address that immediately, like why I'm
Right.
kind of weird about shit. I'm not as much as I used to be, but when I first started, especially out of town, like I was really fucking awkward and shit like around any
Yeah.
alcohol. But now it doesn't really bother me, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, no, and honestly, like I'm super proud of you because I know that that was one of my first thoughts, because I know you continue to go and do comedy so much that I was like, I know personally it would be very, very difficult, and I feel like I'm a very strong-willed person, but I was like, I don't know
Yeah.
if I would be able to be around something that like kind of consumed my life so much and just be like, nah, that's all right, I'm okay, and you've
Yeah,
like you've just
yeah.
you've been phenomenal with being able to just say no, that I don't need it.
Well, and it helps that I can get tested any day, and if they find alcohol in my urine, I go to prison. So like that's a good.
Right.
But the thing is, like even with that, you know, like I know, at least for the past year, like if I really wanted to, there are days I could do it and get
Right.
away with it, but I just haven't done it because it's like as long as I'm out, especially doing comedy, it's like I've got that thing to focus on. But if
Right.
I'm not doing comedy and I'm at a bar, like it's really fucking weird. Like I just don't really do it.
Yeah. I
But
mean, why would you? Like, if you're not doing comedy and you're just fucking putting yourself in a bad situation just for
yeah,
funsies, you know?
well, some people can do it. Like one of my friends, Adam, who I don't know if you met, you might have. Like he's been clean for like 3 years, but like
Okay.
he would still show up at Tolly's to hang out. But
Hmm.
I don't think it's like I think every addict is different. Like for
Right.
me, like I can't do that. Like it just doesn't feel right. But some people can. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely not one of the people that can because it's just like, why am I even there?
Right. Yeah. It's like you went to a place like this for a reason, and now that reason is gone. So it's like, you know,
Yeah.
it's like I like hanging out with naked chicks when you're married. It's like it kind of loses its flame, you know. I mean, and if it
Yeah.
doesn't, obviously you're fucking up. So,
Mhm.
like I can definitely kind of relate to that because I'm married. So it's kind of like getting sober.
Yeah,
But
in some ways it is.
like just kind of going back to your comedy and kind of that transition, one of my favorite things honestly, because like I've watched you do comedy for a long time, even before I moved to LA and stuff, when it was like you and Tim Wells doing comedy and stuff at the
So,
Verve.
yeah.
Yeah, so like long time ago, and I was always like, man, this dude is really good because like you're very good at like telling stories, where when you're drunk, it's easy to talk. Have you found
Yeah.
that is it harder to like get into such detail now that you're like kind of looking at it through sober eyes?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, because it's like when you're buzzed, especially too, you just have this certain confidence in what you're doing.
Hmm.
And sober, you're always going to second guess stuff a little more. But the good thing is, like, when you're on stage, every now and then you just kind of get this push. Like, I don't even know, like, I've always tried to recreate it. It's weird, but like,
Uh-huh.
if I'm in a certain mood and I'm like doing a certain kind of joke, I can like do that. And it's like, okay, I'm not too worried about how this is going to come out. And it just comes out great. And
Right.
it's like I try to harness that shit. Like if I'm doing something new, and it's like, how do I tell this story? How do I um, phrase this shit the way that I want it to come out? But like, definitely with alcohol, it can make that easier because it's like you kind of feel like you're just on everybody's level already.
Uh-huh.
So like, it's easier to relate stories to the audience. I feel like.
Yeah.
So that part's a little more difficult. So I've just tried to like kind of go over shit in my head more before I get up there, and if I don't, it usually doesn't work super fucking
Right.
well. But that just happens.
Yeah, and I feel like that's normal, like that's a normal reaction, for anyone in comedy. But it's kind of neat to hear you talk about, like now you go over things a little bit more. Because do you look at this as like more of a challenge now? Like where before it was kind of just like I know, because there was only like one fucking mic in Terre Haute, so it was like I'll do this once a week. I'll get up there, I'll do my thing, and then I'll fucking not think about it again for a week. And it's like, so do you find yourself now like actually like challenging yourself because, you know, like you already have a hurdle to jump over? Is it like, well, I want to try and do this and see if I'm able to make people laugh at like this topic opposed to, you know, like just being, you know, like obnoxious?
Yeah, like it definitely is like a challenge, and it's definitely like kind of a newer way to look at it. But the good news about it is like as long as I'm doing it more consistently, even if like I'm just hitting the Verb on a Sunday, you know, Hayden's mic, and like I'm hanging out, and sometimes like, you know, it'll just be the comedians there, and we'll
Right.
just kind of job. So even if I'm not getting down like exactly what I want to do, um, and I'm just kind of exercising comedy a little bit, like just kind of throwing shit out there and seeing what sticks. Like as long as I'm doing at least like 3 or 4 mics a week, it's like it makes everything easier. Like I can't really explain it, but it's like just even being there with the microphone makes the next mic easier. If even if I'm doing a whole different fucking bit that I've been working
Right.
on,
Yeah.
like oddly just kind of easier for me because I'm hitting more shit and doing more rooms than I used to.
Yeah,
Um,
and that makes sense, you know, and I feel like it's probably one of those things where the muscles are still there. You have to relearn how to use them, you know, like just kind of in a different sense.
Yeah, it really is. It's weird, man, because it's like I was, you know, Blake Champlin, right? Yeah, you
Yeah,
do, because
yeah,
he
yeah.
he always has your fucking T-shirt.
I
Like,
know he wears that T-shirt all the time. I love it.
which is really good promo shit, dude. Because I swear I've
Absolutely.
seen so many people with those fucking shirts. I need to. Uh, he was telling me like basically like he had to kind of like when he got clean relearn how to do certain shit, and it kind of
Uh-huh.
like the way he put that to me made so much sense because like
Yeah.
with comedy I did have to just relearn all of it because I had basically taken what was a really like wholesome thing like doing stand up and just drank so much through that like I
Uh-huh.
just turned shit for myself, and it was
Right.
like, why am I even doing this? Like I'm just being
Right.
a piece of stage. So it's like it's been weird, but so I did kind of have to relearn it, but it's like it's all still there.
Oh yeah,
Kind of like the,
absolutely.
you know, are still all there.
Well, and honestly, so I'm going to shamelessly plug our show that we have at the convention center on August 6th. But when they asked me who I would like to have on that show, because like they already had some comedians, you know, and then they asked if I had any, you know, people that I would like on there. You were my first suggestion because like
Oh, then.
yeah, you know, like I've seen the work that you've put in, and to me, like that's such a big deal. You know what I mean? Like not everybody's gonna be the funniest guy in the room, but not everybody's gonna be the hardest working guy in the room either. You know,
Yeah.
and you just so happen to be one of the funniest guys in the room and also one of the hardest working. You know, and like I would say since you've gotten sober, I have seen the work ethic just like jump up so high because I noticed that you guys are like traveling out of town more, you know, and you're going to all these different I don't cities, you know, I guess like there's a different word I was looking for, but you know, cities
Oh,
is
yeah.
yeah. But markets, there you go, different markets, you know, like for comedy and like just all of the work to kind of relearn that and still be funny while doing it is like you never find that. You know what I mean? It's like I feel like I'm one of those guys like I work a lot, you know, like I'm constantly going out and doing shit. Not always the funniest guy in the room, but you know, like I try and be one of the hardest working. So to find somebody that is both, you know, like I truly respect that. And honestly, I look up to it.
Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate that for real. Like, yeah, and that show, holy shit, like that's gonna be fucking huge.
It's
So
going to
like
be
that's a
crazy.
fucking, and hopefully I get to do it, but that's a whole other fucking thing. But I think
Right.
I would say 90% sure I will be there. And if I'm not, I'm gonna be pretty depressed, but I'll make it through it.
Yeah, no.
But
You'll
I,
be
I
there.
love
We'll figure it out.
yeah, it'll get figured out. But anyway, but yeah, I appreciate that though, man, for real. Cause like, but I have to say, like, in terms of work ethic, I really owe a lot to like Hayden Ray and
Mhm.
Anthony Velvet and Nathan Marshall. And like, cause those guys really kind of, when I first started back and it felt like I was starting all over again. And I know you had like, you had gone to Texas, but you were there for a little bit. So I know you met Hayden and them.
Yeah.
But after a little, like Hayden was like, I want to do every mic or like
Mhm.
around, and that really was good for me because it felt like I was starting over again. So I had that work ethic back, and it was like I
Yeah.
really wanted this. So like me and him like went to Bears, and then we did half liter and India a lot. about a year ago, and Margarita Monday and some shit like that. So like I really owe a lot to them too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But now it's just like, you know, kind of like now we kind of have that base of like mics that we try to hit, and we're always trying to do more shit. But yeah, I really owe a lot to them too, because you know, I can't drive, so
it's a long walk.
Yeah, I know that, and you know, my girlfriend Lindsay's a teacher, so like she can't be out fucking late. She's probably gonna be smoking in here, but I got the window open, so
I won't.
I almost got doing that. But yeah, so but I appreciate that, man, for real, because you know it's been a tough fucking year, but like I really think that there are guys like you that fucking remember and like hopefully didn't think. I mean, you could think, wow, that guy's such a piece of shit after a lot of fucking.
Well, I'm not saying I didn't think that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think I burned a lot of bridges that way, probably, but that's all right.
Well, see, but like that's the thing though, is that like I can't say that I've ever been there, but I can understand it. You know what I mean? And like you weren't like when I was talking to my wife earlier about you and like your comedy, I think it's super funny that like you go up on stage and you know you kind of like it's almost like an Andrew Dice Clay. You know, it's like very aggressive and very like matter of fact, you know, like your comedy is, but then like your sweetheart off the stage, you know, and like to me that's awesome because it's like you have to have that balance, you know, like you're one of the nicest guys, and I love the fact because like me, I'm 100%. I'm the same like loud and obnoxious on stage as I am off stage, and like there's no balance. It's just like fucking go all the time, and it's really easy to get burnt out that way.
Yeah, I guess I could see that too, but yeah, I don't know. I think I just honestly like even just doing the mics, like you know, like if I go to work, I'm not usually very social because it's like when I do mics and shit, I'm so social with everybody, and that's kind of my social zone. So like I get burned out just doing that half the time. So it's like, you know, I'm kind of usually more chill.
Yeah. Which I mean, it's kind of like I always talk about like the Farley effect, you know, like everybody was like when Chris Farley was at home, he was Chris, but then when he went out, he was Farley, you know, like he was this crazy wild guy. And I think we all have, you know, like that to an extent, you know, like we all have that side to us. But I think just being able to like have more balance, you know, like even when you're on and off stage, you know, like more of a balance and not just like fucking full throttle. Cause like when I'm at home, it's the same thing. Like my wife will like tell me about everything on Facebook and I'm just like, I don't care, you know, like I'm going to be honest with you. Like I'm not trying to sit here and have a conversation. I'm just trying to sit here and relax because like I'll get on stage and talk like by myself for 45 minutes. Like that's a lot, you know, like I just want silence for a minute.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. Yeah, it's weird because, like, yeah, when I was drinking, like, after a mic, I could sit there and do comedy for like 20 minutes or whatever and just hang out and talk and talk and talk. And it's like, I'd be there till fucking 4 a.m. And then I would just be so drained. Like, there was no way back to, I mean, I guess that's also just the life of being an alcoholic is like, it's kind of every day.
That's true.
Yeah. It's weird though. Yeah. Like, you kind of find that balance though.
Yeah, well, and honestly though, like that is one thing that I can say because I used to be in it and I'm not now. So it's like I'm looking at it, you know, like from an outside perspective. And the Terre Haute community of comedians has really like I feel like it's kind of blossomed, you know, and it's like it's really awesome how many people because I know there was that wave, you know, several years ago, you know, when everybody was at ISU and then they kind of went back to Indy and, you know, people kind of just, you know, moved on with life. And then I feel like it was very stagnant for a while. And then when I got on the scene, what was that, like middle of 2020? It was starting to pick back up a little bit, you know, which everybody was dealing with COVID and stuff like that, you know. But since I've left, like the market here is outrageous. It's huge. There's so many fucking people, you know, and like it's very cliquey and you know, like there's just so many ins and outs. But I feel like the Terre Haute group, it's like it's grown tremendously, but not only has it grown in numbers, it's grown in, you know, strength, you know, like because like you said, like you guys are pushing each other to go to different cities and you know like travel around and do these different mics, and now you guys are doing shows all the time, you know, so like that's great to see.
Yeah, man, it really is. And it's yeah, you're right, it was stagnant for a while. And it's weird because I feel like, I mean, I was drinking a fuckload, so it's like I know I was stagnant. I wasn't doing shit.
Mhm.
But it's like I got really lucky that when I did decide to get sober, like other people were also, and I know you were around when I got clean too, but
Mhm.
like it just kind of felt like everything was kind of picking up.
Absolutely.
So it was like it was a good time for me to kind of figure my shit out and then jump into it again, because it was kind of like, oh, everything's kind of on the upward trajectory. But yeah, man, and you're right. Like the just in the town, like I did that Terre Haute Brewing Company thing.
Yeah, which is great.
I know that apparently had an open mic that sucked like a couple years ago.
Yeah,
and
the one I got kicked off of.
Yeah, and I had heard about it, and I was like, man, fuck that place. But I guess they got new owners. It's all good now.
Yeah.
But when we went there, man, like that guy Emmanuel from Gutty's put me on, and man, fucking full. It's like there's just enough people in town even that are just down for this again. And I feel like it's been a long time since that's happened. Like I feel like people were just depressed and either didn't want to see it or we weren't doing it. But like everything's kind of back to where it needs to be. And I mean, and now with this fucking convention center show,
I know,
like that's
so
that's and
yeah, it's gonna be awesome. And like, here's something that I haven't even told anybody yet, but I'm gonna tell you and whoever the fuck is listening. WTWO. What was that?
Oh no, sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it cut out when you started talking.
Oh, I was just saying there's nobody here listening because it's just me. Then I realized you meant to the podcast. I'm just really well to figure that out.
That's all right. He's like, I forgot that other people we're not just having a conversation here. Like this is for other people. But so I am WTWO is gonna do an interview with of me for me. I don't know how you fucking word that, but that's going to be on the 1st of August for that show. So I'm hoping that since that's going to be on TV, that it really like ignites the flame for Terre Haute comedy, because people will see that, and then maybe they don't go to the convention center for our show, but maybe they're like, oh, that's a thing that they do around here. And then, when you guys are doing shows at, the brewing company or, wherever, hopefully it brings more people out. So then that way the audience and the whole community just starts to grow a little bit more.
Yeah, that would be nice. Cause I think the only other thing that was ever on the news, and like I barely even counts, there was this really shitty restaurant in town called the Grand Cafe, which is owned by a really guy. But I remember in the commercial he made that was like 20 seconds, there were pictures of us doing comedy in it.
Oh, okay.
It was total dog shit, but that's as close as we've ever gotten before, as far as I know.
Well, yeah.
That's really cool, man. But yeah, that's good for you. Like, I was telling Lindsay too, I was like, man, I got to figure out like how the fuck you're making this shit happen. Cause this is like, it's pretty insane that you're not even living here and you fucking put this together and it's this fucking big. Like, that's really impressive, man. Like,
well, I can't take all the credit for it. So, it is the Terre Haute area of I'm going to fuck this up. Terre Haute Area Association of Realtors. That's it. That they're the ones putting it together, and it's raising money to build small homes for homeless veterans. And they actually reached out to me. So they found a card or something that I had left, and so they reached out and was like, "Hey, would you be willing to do a comedy show?" I was like, yeah, that'd be great. And they were like, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know anything about it. But, like, we found your information and we think that this would be a great opportunity for us, to raise money. So we kind of just started piecing it together, and they were like, yeah, we want to rent the convention center out. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, that's ambitious. And they were like, and they asked me how much we should charge for tickets. And I'm like, shit, like, I'm a no-name fucking, comedian in Texas. So I was like, it's a charity event, so like you definitely want to raise a little bit of money. And they were like, all right, and they set a price, and I was like, we'll see. And then I texted her the other day and was like, how are ticket sales? And she's like, yeah, we've sold 60 tables of 8 a piece, and I'm like, Jesus, like that's outrageous.
So, yeah, that's amazing. And I think it helps too, just that it's such a good cause. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
I feel like, because that's one of those that everybody always thinks in the back of their head, man, that's fucked up that they're homeless veterans. It's like, oh, here's the solution. So it's like, well, that really fucking works out.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's crazy though, man. But yeah, but even then, like, I mean, you left a business card and they found it. Like, that's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
You know what's weird? I met a guy and he was like, that wants to do some stuff in Sullivan, and he was like, "Do you have a card?" And I was like, "No." Like, what the fuck? I on like I wasn't bewildered by him even asking me that question, because I was just kind of like, "Oh, I mean, you know, not right now."
Right.
But of course, I never fucking had one.
Right.
Or close. But yeah, but still, like, that's a good idea though, because then down the road, someone fucking finds it and they're like, "Wow, this could be a great idea."
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
it all worked out.
Yeah, no, and like that's what's great is because like all the shows and stuff that my wife and I are putting, well, I say my wife and I, my fucking wife puts all this stuff together. My name's just on it, you know. But yeah, like she's the driving force, and I think like you said, sometimes things just kind of work out, you know, like in the right time. And we've been so busy doing our own stuff that this show just kind of like popped up and was just like a great opportunity, you know. And then like it gives me, you know, like a reason to go back home and, you know, kind of see people for the weekend and stuff, you know. And it's like sometimes, you know, you just religion, whatever, you know, like the universe, energy, whatever you want to call it, you know, like it's just like it all lines up in the way that it should be, you know.
No, I agree, man. Fuck. I mean, like, and I'll tell you what, man, for what religion is worth, like, I was a staunch atheist for years, but man, like, going through alcohol withdrawal and just praying that I survive, and this is kind of off topic, but fuck it, I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But like, you know, like, I was within like seizure territory with how much I was drinking, because I was drinking like over a day for like 2 weeks. And like, I just fucking prayed and I'm here. Like, I mean, I don't know, you know, I don't know all the, but I mean, something fucking helped.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like that's great. Like I tell people all the time, you know, like I don't care what it is, you know, like what you believe in, you know, like you could fucking believe that your cat is God, you know, like and if that's what keeps you from like raping people at night, you know, or like keeps you on the up and up, or like what gives you the strength to wake up in the morning, like so be it. You know, like who cares? Like people that get so butthurt over, you know, like, oh well, if you don't believe what I believe, you know, it's like fuck you, man. You know, like we all deal with shit. I mean, you're Catholic, you know, like so you like kids, you know, like we all we all have our thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. The church is like, and you know what's fucked up? I'm the worst Catholic ever, because I like started like praying and shit, and I was like, you know, if I get through this, I'm gonna go back to mass. I never fucking went back. Like I've never fucking done it. I've never done anything. Like, there's this comedian Nate Marshall in town, who I don't think you've met, but he's really funny. Like, he just moved to Indy, but like he's like doing all the steps and shit, and like I've been baptized, and like he just joined that church. Okay. I'm like, fuck, I'm anything. Like, I haven't done any of this shit, and it's been a year. Like, I claim, so I think, you know, I'm probably going to hell if God actually gives a shit.
Right. Yeah. I got you through while you were on Earth, but I'm fucking tired of your shit, Patrick.
Oh yeah, I mean, I totally bullshitted and was like, I'm gonna do this, and then I never did any of it.
You still got time.
I mean, I'm fuck. I don't know.
Do you need to go to confession right now? You need to tell me some shit that you've done.
Not right.
I'll bless you.
You could, but I mean, fuck. I don't know. I'd have to make a long list, man. That would take some time. Like, to do it the right way, I'd have to really write all the, because I haven't been to confession since I was like 13. So I mean, that's been 15 years. Yeah, it's been a long time. So I got to write down everything.
Yeah, you've done a couple things between here and there, just that I know of. So
yeah, 3 arrests, 2 visits to the ER for alcohol-related problems. So there's 5, and there's a lot in between those. But yeah,
no big deal. That's all right. But so what I want to do is we have these questions that we like to ask here on Life is Cooler with AC. So they're just random questions, and what I really like about these questions is they kind of just like make you talk about some like just random shit, you know, which is kind of I was talking to my wife the other day, and I was like, maybe I have like ADD or something, because like I'll be in the middle of a fucking sentence to her, and then like I'll start thinking about like some random shit and like stop talking, and she's like, I don't know what you're saying to me, and I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you were saying this, and I was like, oh, I don't know, I have no idea. So that's what I like this podcast to be. So,
yeah.
all right. So, who is your favorite serial killer? By Christina Weger.
I mean, favorite's a strong word, but I always kind of like John Wayne Gacy just because it's like he was the killer clown guy.
Right.
And as a kid, I was afraid of clowns. So like I watched a documentary about him on TV. Like I think it was like A&E, and it scared the shit out of me. And what's fucked up is though, for years people talked about him like he was the killer clown, but he didn't like dress up as a clown when he killed people. So it's a little misleading, but he was like a party clown.
Yeah,
And
what
then
the
he
fuck?
killed.
Yeah. So this whole time I'm out here thinking that he's like raping these dudes dressed as a clown, like he gets a little boop boop on his nose.
That's how they market it.
That's how they market it.
They did. Like, all the shows are like the killer clown and all this shit, and then it's scary as fuck when you're a kid, which it should be because we did kill people, but like it's not creepy as they make it seem like it was. It was just kind of a straight up serial killer.
Right. Well, yeah, he's just a normal dude.
Nothing. He was just a dude that really liked to fillet other men and then kill them. That was his thing.
Right, like this clownless fuck that they've lied to me about this whole time.
Yeah, it's like I watched something like a few years ago. I'm like, he wasn't really like a killer clown, not he's a clown that killed, but that's a little different.
It was a clown that killed.
Yeah, like it's not as deep as they made it seem.
Right. Yeah. Well, see, whoever was on the fucking marketing, the board of marketing for him, I guess they nailed it. Yeah. They really knew how to blow his case out of proportion because, like, like we were watching some documentary about him. Well, my wife was, she loves serial killers, and it was like he kept hiding these dudes like under his floor and stuff. And I was like, well, that's bizarre. I was like, I feel like you would notice this clown walking through the street and be like, man, something's up with that. But the fact that he did not dress as a clown all the time is really kind of troublesome to me.
Yeah. Because, they make it seem like that. But yeah, I think it was the same because Lindsay watches all that shit too. So she was like, let's watch. I think it was the one on Netflix.
Right.
And watched it. And that's barely part of his life was being a clown. Like he was just a weird construction guy. But I guess that'd be my favorite one, I guess. I'm not as into that shit as Lindsay is, but like it's pretty interesting though.
Yeah. See, so for me, like that's a tough question. I like Ted Bundy because I know the most about him, but then there's do you know who Ed Gein is?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me give you a little story about Ed Gein. He is what the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is like kind of based off of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I was really young, my dad had a brother, and he lived in Texas. He probably still does. I don't know. And he went to prison for a DUI because they're super strict on that stuff down here. And he told us, he was like, yes, I was in prison, and whenever they would bring this one guy, they would walk him through, like the corridor, and like we would all have to like turn and face the wall because we weren't allowed to look at him. And I was like, that's pretty fucking aggressive, And he was like, yeah, it was, the Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was the guy who really did it. So growing up, I was like, this is a real guy. So I tell people this is based off of a fucking true story, and people would be like, no, it's not. And I'd fucking argue with people. Like, my uncle was in prison with him. Like, you don't even know. And come to find out, it's not real. So fuck that. So fuck my uncle, first of all, for lying to me and making me look stupid. But I don't know why I told you that story. There was a purpose, but.
Yeah, I think it's pretty loosely based because it's like he did like make people's skin into furniture and shit.
Yeah, like he had like a nipple belt.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because I watched the thing on him a few years ago. That was pretty fucked up. But it's weird. Like I remember when I was in county jail in Hamilton County because I got arrested up there once. And I really hope that when this goes out, my probation officer doesn't see it because I probably shouldn't be talking about this shit. But it's kind of high. Like, even though I was just in the drunk tank, in Hamilton County, it's like it's like glass. It's a super nice jail. Like, it was insane. Like, I got in there and I was like, this is like the nicest jail ever. But like, there's a glass pane and you can see like people being processed and all this shit. And at one point, they brought in a dude like he looked like with the Hannibal Lecter mask and all that shit. On like not a gurney, but like a fucking
Like a
what's the
dolly?
fucking word? Yeah, a dolly, like on it, strapped in and shit.
Uh-huh.
And like scared the shit out of all of us because we're just like, still hungover, just sitting
Right.
around like out. And yeah, they brought this dude in, and dude, he was like, they put him in this other room that was like right next to the drunk tank, and they had like 8 guys on each side of him, just like carry him in there. And dude, he was screaming for probably 4 hours. Like it was fucking insane. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I have no idea who that guy was, but it was the muzzle and everything. It was fucking crazy.
Well, see, I feel like that would be enough to make me stop drinking. You're like, nah, these are not the people that I want to be around.
It should have been, but I mean, I really loved drinking. So like I drank that night when I got out of jail. Like there was no, yeah.
He
Like
said
I got
that shit was
up.
so traumatic. I need a drink.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like that's the first thing you think when you get out of jail. Not this last time. Then I was like, okay, maybe I really got to stop. But it was like, fuck it, I need to drink after this because I'm hungover. I already missed work. Like, I've been in jail all day. It's a shit place to be. You're stuck in fucking 20 guys and they're all annoying. So it's like, yeah, jail sucks.
I'm gonna kind of talk about one of your, and you may not even use it anymore, but one of your jokes, which is not even a joke, it's the real story. When you talk about when you got arrested, you're like, I got arrested for a DUI, and I was in the parking lot going into work. And it's like, to me, that is so fucking funny. It's like, have you ever seen the movie Hot Rod?
No, I've never actually seen it, but I know the movie.
Okay, so the premise is he's going to ride this little moped that you have to like pedal, to start. So it's just probably, I don't know, like a fucking 40cc engine, and he's gonna ride that and jump all of these buses. And he thinks that it's gonna work. He couldn't even jump a fucking the pool, like the city pool, but he's gonna jump all these buses. And that's what's so funny about that story is that like you thought that you were going to get through a day of work, but you couldn't even get to work because you were so drunk.
Oh yeah, and I felt fine. That's the fuck that like I'd always tell people that, and they're like, "Come on, no, you didn't." But I was drinking so hard like that for like it was probably like a 2-3 week period, and that's after years of being a drunk anyway. That like I blew a .18 and I felt fine. Like I was driving like I'm good. Like when they breathalyzed, I was like, "Go ahead, I don't care." Like I don't know why you're doing this. And then he was like, "You're fucking to me," and I was like, "I'm not lying. I'm on my way to work." And then he didn't believe me, so he had me call, and I called the front desk at work like, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it in." And then he finally fucking believed me because I told him like, jail. Like I can't make it in right now.
Right.
And,
like I'm in the parking lot. Just look outside. Like I'm here.
Oh yeah, and they all found out. But how I did not get fired is fucking insane. Like I will never fucking stand. But luckily, I think they just took pity on me after that.
Well, I mean, technically, it's not a no call, no show. You did call.
I did call, and I was already late that day too. So I called like, "Oh, I'm on my way. I'm gonna be like 30 minutes late." And then I called again, and she was like, "Where are you?" And it's like, "Well, I'm in cuffs. Like I'm about to go to jail." Like, well, yeah. But yeah, I felt good. It was fucked up. Like I went into work like that all the time, and I felt fine. I never dropped anything. Like I wasn't slurring my words. Like I
that you remember. Yeah, no, that's just that. Like the idea of that is just so comical to me because it's like, yeah, no, I was so drunk that they fucking arrested me. But I was about to walk into work like no big deal, just all fucking casual, drunk as fuck.
Yeah, and that's what was so hard to explain about it. Like to my manager, it's like I felt okay, and I think they just kind of, I mean, at that point, I think they must have noticed I had an alcohol problem at some point. I never told them. But I'm sure I saw me in the morning, like, oh my God. And then they were just probably like, well, he probably did feel all right. And then just kind of took mercy on me. Because my car was still in the parking lot. They didn't impound it, thank God.
Well, that was nice of them.
Yeah. Well, and you know what's weird? My car's never been impounded.
Really?
For an arrest. Yeah. Well, the first 2 times I got arrested was I got pulled over in a church parking lot, which is just coincidence. It's weird. And I knew that, like, I could probably leave this here. And yeah, if in the first time I really talked shit to the cop too, so I thought he was going to impound it because I was just drunk and pissed off, and I'd never been arrested before. But the second time, the cop was really nice, and he could have charged me with a fucking open container too, because I had a beer sitting in the fucking cup holder that I didn't even realize I had, and the cop looked in there and saw it and just kind of like made a face, and then he let me go. Like, well, he took me to jail, but he let that go.
Well, he took me to jail.
Yeah, he did. I shouldn't have said it that way. I did still go to jail. That was kind of. But luckily, he left the beer can in there and just didn't say anything about it. Because I went and got my car the next day; it was still there.
Wow.
So,
did you finish the beer?
He really wanted to let me go.
Yeah.
Like, he was a really good, but he couldn't let me go. I think I blew a .21 that time.
Oh yeah. So you were just you were a little tipsy.
Yeah. In fact, I was hanging out with Richard Bean that night at a bar called Jimmy B's in like near Carmel, because you could smoke in there and it was the middle of winter. I was like, fuck it, I'll just go smoke there because I can't smoke in the place I was staying. And then that didn't end well. But yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sound. Yeah, see, like, fortunately, like, which I don't really drink and drive, you know, it's just like I'll have a beer like doing comedy, you know, but like I'm there for like an hour and a half, you know, so by the time that I'm done, like there's nothing left really. But there's been a couple times where it was very very poor judgment, you know, and like there was one time we were living in LA and it was a work party. It was a Christmas party for the company that I was working with, and they just kept buying us drinks, you know, and it was, I think I ended up having like 7 or 8 fucking what did I was like vodka and some juice, you know, and by the end of it I was feeling pretty good, you know, and my wife, I remember she's like, we need to Uber home. And I was like, we live 0.7 miles away. Like, there's no reason to Uber home. Like, I'll be fine. And then I remember waking up, throwing up all over myself in my bathtub and like ice cold water. And she was like, yeah. She's like, how did we get home? I was like, I don't know. Like, I felt like that scene from Wolf of Wall Street where he's like, I think I made it perfect. And then like his fucking Ferrari or whatever it was just trashed, which I didn't wreck or anything, but like, I definitely, I feel like that if I was going to, that would have been the time. So since then I've like, nah, if I feel it, it's not worth it to me.
Yeah, I mean, at least you have that judgment in your head, because like I just didn't give like, because I was just drinking so regularly that you just go, I'm good. You know, like it's such a horrible decision, but like you just don't care, and it's so regular that I was just like, whatever, I'm gonna just do this. Like I did that once where I took Xanax too, and then drank, which was the stupidest fucking thing I've ever done in my life, because I came home and I had a flat tire and the side mirror on my car was busted off. And I still don't know how the fuck that happened to this day.
Oh, so you did have that experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
It'll happen. But at least you've got that switch in your head now that's like, okay, even though I didn't wreck my entire life, I'm not going to do that again.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I had to destroy my own life like 3 times just to finally be like, I'm going to quit drinking. Or, well, for me, though, I have to. I'm an addict. But, you know, like, at least for you, you can be like, I've had too much. I can just call a fucking Uber.
Right, exactly. Yeah, or my wife doesn't really drink that much. She did that night, but, like, in, you know, a normal setting, she doesn't drink very often. So I'll just be like, you drive. Like, I had 2 beers, and I can feel it, like, you drive. But, no, you do. Do you still do that one joke? And I fucking love that joke where you're like, the greatest game in the world is, you know, when you're drinking and driving.
You know, I haven't done that in a long time, but it would really fit with some stuff that I do now that's kind of like about my arrest. So like I probably should. Because I did do it kind of recently, and then I kind of quit doing it, but I should bring that back. Because that always was kind of a good one. Like I never got any response to it.
Yeah, no, and the way that you set it up, and then at the end, you know, like your punchline where you're like, I've lost 3 times, and it's like that's so fucking funny.
Yeah, well, thanks, man. Fuck, I'll bring that back. I'm glad you said that, because I lost all my notes.
Oh,
like
shit.
I had all these notes, and then I don't know what the fuck happened to them. So I still have like what's in my phone, which I'm pretty sure is most of what was like good, but I'm gonna add that in there.
Yeah, no, because I liked that one a lot, just because it's like the way that you would explain everything, like the music's better, everything's better when you're drunk, and then like just the when you do it, you'll have to record it and post it, like if it goes well, because like honestly, that is such a fucking funny joke, even from somebody who can't relate entirely, like it's so good.
No, well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Cause yeah, and that's what's fucked up. Like when I was drinking, it's like, yeah, I'll drive because it's so much fun. Like it just was. The music is way better. Like you can just jam out to shit and fucking chill. And like you don't even think for a second that like you're in a 2-ton fucking car that could kill people.
Right.
Like you're just like, I'm just chilling. Like it's so
I'm just relaxing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I think that's always been one of my favorite things about your comedy is that like all of your jokes are just like such real life experiences, like even whenever you would talk about, like your experience, like growing up and being Catholic and stuff like that, like there's so many things that you talk about that are authentic, like they're actually they're real scenarios and real stories that are, personal to you. Cause like there's so many people that are doing jokes anymore that are just like so random, and it's like it's stories that I can't relate to because they're just so bizarre, because like people will get high and like do all these crazy things and like just have these ideas, and I'm like, I cannot relate at all to what you're saying. But like your stuff, like although I've not been there, it's so real that I can see it,
Oh, well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's like for me too, I think it's just like I feel the need to say it almost because it's like I know that if somebody Googles me, this shit's gonna come up. Right. So like if I'm a new person, it comes up in the first like conversation almost. Like I'll be like, yeah, I can't drive because blank, and then I was an alcoholic, I've been clean, because it's like I've had like my girlfriend's mom fucking Googled me and found out about all my shit, and it's like, well, that's great.
Right.
And I haven't even. So it's like, well, that's fucking wonderful. So yeah, it's like at this point, it just comes with the territory. So it's like if I can do it on stage, it's even better because then it's like at least there's some likability possibly to it.
Right.
Because people are just horrified in real life when I tell them. They're like, "How the fuck could you do that? You piece of shit." And it's like they're not wrong, but like I really would do the joke first because then it's like, they can see that I don't care that much. Like
right.
I do, but. I've kind of dealt with it, so I'm trying to be funny with it at least.
Exactly. It's a good icebreaker, so that way not everybody's just uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah. I'm going to let my cat in really quick.
Yeah, no, absolutely. See, and I'm glad that you're doing this, honestly, because like as I was sitting here talking, I realized that with your just like straight background, it looked like you were in a prison cell. So I'm glad that you're showing people that you're not.
Yeah, I guess it kind of does. Kind of over here, but yeah, it does kind of look pretty bland. I was gonna do it like from over here, like kind of like near in this chair, and then I just said fuck it and put it right here because it kind of made the most sense. But
right, yeah,
yeah.
At least now people know.
Yeah, it does look a little suspicious.
Yeah, you're like it. And back here is my it's my metal toilet where I have to sit to pee. Because nobody splashes in prison.
You know what's worse than that is when somebody in the drunk tank falls asleep on the toilet, which happens pretty often because I've only been in the drunk tank 3 times. It's happened twice. And when
Were you
that
ever
happens,
one of them?
No, thank God. I would sleep on the floor, which is fucking horrible anyway. But no, yeah, if somebody falls asleep on the toilet and they're a big guy, like this happened the last time I was in there, what'll happen is people just start peeing in the drain, which is like on the floor. And when that happens, it stinks up the whole fucking place. Like it's disgusting. But I've also seen it happen where there's a small guy that fell asleep on the toilet and somebody just pushed him to wake him up, which kind of helped.
Yeah.
But I have my best not to shit in jail, and I have never done it.
Well, that's good.
But yeah.
Well, now I'm kind of concerned though, because you just said that you sleep on the floor and then people piss on the floor. So have you been pissed on?
No, no, but I've been thrown up. I've been thrown up on in jail. The last time I was in there in county, a guy was going through really bad alcohol withdrawal, and he was just banging on the fucking door like, hey, give me some, but he was kind of talking shit. So they were like, who gives a fuck? Mm. And they probably thought he was lying, but I think he just wanted like some Ativan or something. But he was throwing up like blood all over the place. So I was like trying to sleep, not seeing where it was going, and he just like latched like all over the fucking place, and it got a little bit on my head. So that was pretty gross.
Yeah, fuck. And it's got blood in it. Man, you probably got AIDS from jail.
Yeah, probably. I mean, honestly, dude, and the county jail, I don't want to say, just in case somebody sees this, I won't say the county, but the jail has had some serious complaints. Like they are horrible, dude. Like, I mean, even during COVID, like they weren't giving people masks. They were throwing like 20 people in there at a time.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, jail, but there are people in there that are just being processed, like,
right.
I mean, just for people that are have really fucked up and are drunk. So like it's pretty bad. Like they've had people that die there, like because they just don't fucking call the paramedics right away because they think the guy's faking it and shit. Like it's pretty.
You gotta love that. Nah, he'll be fine. Nah, he just had a seizure and he's bleeding out of his fucking ears. Nah, he's faking it.
Dude, it's crazy. I watched a guy have some kind of a fucking spasm or something in there, and he was just going like this, and I thought he was just fucked up. Like, because I don't know. There could be a guy that smoked meth. Who the fuck knows?
Right.
But like, yeah, just fucking shaking and shit. And it took probably 2 minutes before somebody came in and just dragged him out. Dang. And it's like, I don't know what that guy had going on. Like, who knows? I just have no idea.
I feel like and this is just a shot out of a cannon here, but you've been to jail 3 times and you've told me probably 20 minutes worth of fucking stories that you've seen just in your 3 visits. You should do like a whole, like, just keep getting arrested. And every time that you see something new, like you do this whole series on, this is what happens in county.
Yeah. I mean, I hopefully won't have that happen, but if I do, relapse and get arrested again, I will do something like that.
No, don't even relapse. I'm saying just go do some other shit. Like go steal some fucking stuff from Walmart and be like, nah, I guess you got to lock me up.
I could, but then I'm going to prison. Like if I'm on fucking probation, they're not going to let me off again with anything less than that probably. But I mean, there's some fucked up shit you see in there though. I will say that. Like I remember one time this dude, and this is just a dumb story, but it's kind of funny. This one dude was just asleep for hours and hours. And then he fucking woke up and just kind of looked around and he just went, oh, fuck, I'm in jail. Like he didn't know. He didn't know where the fuck he was. He just had to have the realization set in that he was in jail and had no idea why, which was pretty depressing. Because I've had that not exactly happen, but there is that moment when you're about to go to sleep in the drunk tank and you're like, hopefully this just isn't real. And then you wake up with like a sober mind and you're like, holy shit, this is real. And it sucks. Like it's the worst thing in the world.
See, like honestly though, I don't know what you're working on with your story about, like getting sober and being arrested and stuff, but this is fucking hilarious. Like that, like, oh fuck, I'm in jail. Yeah. Just having that realization, like I can only, because I know sometimes like I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'm having like a bad dream or something. I'm like, where am I? Oh, I'm in bed. Like, where am I? Oh, I'm in jail. Okay, that wasn't a nightmare. That really happened.
Yeah, because and it's like, and who knows how fucked up that guy was. Like he might not even remember the past day. Right. So like for him, he expects to like wake up at home. He might have been gone for a weekend. Right. And then that, like, he has no idea what he even did. Like, that's really fucking bad. And I'm not even passing judgment because, I mean, good Lord knows what I've fucking done. But, yeah, man, it's just the only advice I would ever have, don't go to county jail. And if you do, don't do it in this county.
Right, yeah. Well, is the new one? The what?
I said it sounds like Texas is probably more strict, though. So, I mean, especially not out there.
Yeah, well, luckily, I haven't popped in to see what their facilities look like here. But, I have heard some not so flattering things, so I think I'm going to avoid it, at all costs.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I can say experience. Yeah. It's not, but.
Well, that's great life advice, everyone, from Patrick Eaton. Try not to get locked up in county.
That's all I can say.
Well, man, I don't want to take too much of your time. We've reached an hour, which is not even
Oh,
doesn't even break the ice. Chip, I don't know what the fuck that expression is, but like there's so much more for us to talk about. But man, I appreciate you so much for being here and being on this with me. And I'm gonna have you back because I got to hear more about your time in county. This has been
I can talk
phenomenal.
about it, yeah, especially after my court date. Then I can talk about more things. Well, I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna, because I mean, on my Facebook, I don't like have cops friended or anything,
Oh
so I
yeah,
think
me
I'm good.
neither.
Yeah, well, if you do, it's probably fine. Um, it'll all be good because I'm clean. Just for the record, if they're gonna need a police watch, almost 13 months,
No,
and
congratulations.
not
That's
more
excellent.
trouble. So
Yeah, that's
that's
awesome. And no, next time we talk though, I'm sure that there's going to be a lot more stories, like cuz you still have to face your consequences and there's going to be a lot more to talk about. So I'll definitely have you back on here, man, and it's been a really good time. And I'm going to put all your socials and stuff down at the bottom so that way people can check you out and they can follow your journey here cuz you post about it not regularly, but you definitely give updates, and it's awesome to see. So I'm proud of you, man, and you're out there killing it, and I'm looking forward to sharing the stage with you here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, you too, man. Yeah, man. Well, hey, proud of you too, dude. Because I remember when you showed up. Well, you had already been doing comedy, but when you started coming to Hollies and stuff, and you're killing it out there.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, it'll
Definitely.
be a good time on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just there's a bunch of good people on that show, on that lineup, so it's going to be phenomenal. So I'm really looking forward to it. And just hanging out with some old friends, and kind of catching up. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it will be a good one.
So, all right, man. Well, thank you so much again for being here, and thank you guys for watching Life is Cooler with AC. This is Patrick Eaton. Go check him out on all of his socials. So, all right, buddy. I will talk to you later.
All right, man. Yeah, thanks for having me. Take it easy.
Yes, sir. See you later.